Hello, my fellow citizens of the 7th universe. My name is Peoplezz, if you wish Pacific, and welcome back once again to another Boruto Naruto Next Generations episode review kind of talk about thing going on. I wanted to continue doing this because last week I did an episode on it, and people thought it was really cool. They wanted me to continue it. Also, I got a lot of support off of it, so I was like, you know what? We're gonna keep it going. Some really cool stuff happens this coming episode. At the beginning of this episode, I just want to say there's going to be some spoilers in it. Actually, there's going to be a talk about mostly the entire series, entire episode. So basically, if you haven't seen the episode, make sure to pause this video, go watch the episode, and then come back and watch it because I'm lonely and I need friends. So please come back and talk to me. Yeah, so this coming episode, Boruto finally comes back to the academy. He was on a 2-week suspension during this time, which is absolutely terrible. I don't know how you can live with a 2-week suspension. I mean, coming from here, I've never been suspended. So I think suspensions only usually last, well, around here, around my town, they only last like 3-4 days. 2-week suspension is mental. But we got like a little funny part where Hinata was not too thrilled about Boruto being expelled. I mean, she was still like supporting him, everything like that, but made sure that he was on top of his studies because that's a Hinata thing to do. To make sure that even if he's in trouble, you gotta make sure that you are kept up with class, which I thought that was really funny. Now, right when Boruto steps into class, he does a very Naruto type thing where he immediately, when he comes in, he gets everyone's attention and says who he is. That is exactly what Naruto would do. But instead, Naruto would go up and be like, if you remember the tuning exams, Naruto called everyone attention and said, hey, I'm better than all of you. I'm gonna beat all of you. Instead, what Boruto does is he calls everyone's attention and says hi to everybody and says, like, nice to meet you. And, like, in a polite type of way. I mean, not really polite because he, like, interrupted everybody, but way more polite than how Naruto would do it. You could always see that, like, as a character standpoint, like, not, like, inner character, Boruto seems to have that. And I think that's just because he's got the parents, unlike how Naruto did. But unlike how, well, actually very similarly to what Naruto was doing, everybody started talking about Boruto being like, oh, he's the Hokage's son, blah blah blah. Everybody would be in jail for what he did, but instead he only got a 2-week suspension just because he's Hokage's son, blah blah blah. He's riding on the Hokage's, he's basically just going up the glory because of the Hokage. Now, Naruto didn't do that, obviously, because he's got a tail beast in him. And everybody just didn't trust him because he had a tail beast. And it was like, it was just like, no one's gonna trust you because you have the beast who destroyed the village inside of you. So no one's gonna trust you. But Boruto, everyone's just like, no one's trusting you because you think you're pathetic and weak because you're just riding the Hokage's glory up the train. You're just gonna get really good. Everyone's gonna treat you well, that sort of stuff. But obviously, Boruto doesn't want that. He wants to have a name for himself because he's Boruto, not because he's the Naruto's son, which is a good character standpoint. I mean, a lot of animes do that, where they're just like, oh, I don't want to ride in my father's glory, that sort of stuff, but that's good. Now, everybody doesn't really trust him that well, even the teacher, which I can't believe he's in there. I'm not going to say who he is. If you guys know who he is, I can't believe he turned out to be a teacher, Mr. Bugman. But I found that really funny. But everybody's not trusting him. Everybody doesn't want to talk to him. Everybody is saying how he's like a jerk, that sort of stuff. But Boruto doesn't really care, like a Naruto type thing. He just wants to be in school. And Inojin, the Sai's son, comes in, always says like a few remarks, and just like basically calls Boruto and a couple classmates out during this time. It kind of sets up the thing that he's gonna be like this, like he's going to be kind of like a jokester, but he's going to be kind of a jerk to everybody, but in a very, like, cheerful way. He's got, like, that happy smirk. He's just like, oh, I didn't mean it. It's like he's got that smirk where I had a feeling he's going to be a bad guy smirk, but I'll see what happens later on. But, yeah, afterwards, there's, during the school day, he wants to go up and try to eat with a couple classmates because he wants to get to know everybody. Everybody runs away because he's like, what the heck? And then he winds into Iwabe. I think that's how you pronounce his name. If not, wow, that is a terrible thing. But he is #1 in the class when it comes to ninjutsu, because he's kind of like Naruto, where he, not really, but, like, he's failed multiple times. Just like how Naruto did. But unlike Naruto, he's really good at ninjutsu. Like, he's the best in the class by far. But he doesn't care about grades. He skips all the time. So he fails all the time. Because unlike before, which I should have probably said at the beginning of the episode, the academy is more focused on other things besides ninjutsu, where it used to be back when Naruto went in. Because they're in the time of peace, that they just felt that, other people should learn other things. And just in case, like, you learn how to be a ninja, and for, like, your whole life there's nothing going on, so you have to, like, figure out what to do. So it teaches you other things, which I think is really cool. Some people were thinking that, like, and I was looking actually at the Crunchyroll comments. People were thinking, like, that's kind of like a bad approach, because you're just like, well, it's a ninja school. It's basically a military school, and you're treating it more like a normal school. And I don't think they would actually do that, but I can see what they're coming from both ends. But anyways, yeah. So this troublemaker kid comes up to Boruto, goes up to Denki, beats up Denki a lot of times. Poor little kid, poor glasses kid. He feels like he's gonna be like the poor sap who always gets beat up and has to learn how to stand up for himself. But unlike Denki, Boruto stands up not just for himself, but for his classmates, which is a huge thing, in my opinion. Because Naruto, when he was a kid, he'd just be like, I don't care about my classmates, I just care about myself. I just want to be Hokage. Believe it! That kind of stuff. But, like, Boruto steps up for his class, says, you shouldn't pick on everybody. You should, like, actually work on your grades and all that stuff. And Iwabe is just like, oh, how about you fight me, blah, blah, blah. And then they go off to another room. And they fight together. And the fighting is actually really, really cool, because you can see how each of them fight. Boruto is very, very reliant on his shadow clones right now. Currently going on in the series, Boruto currently only really knows how to use his shadow clones, which he uses them too much, as you can see in the fight, because he gets very, very tired as time goes on, because he's just using so much chakra. He's having 3 shadow clones up almost all the time, and at the same time, he is substituting them. If they get beaten up, he spends more of them. And it was kind of funny how, like, there was one part of it, and you could see how Boruto has to develop this as a ninja. He's talking to his shadow clones, and it's just like a 3-second thing. He's talking to his shadow clones, and he's just like, shadow clones, attack! You see him over there, and the shadow clones are just like, wait, what the heck is going on? And then the other shadow clone's just like, yeah, he doesn't even care about us. He just wants us to fight. Whatever, let's go. So it's kind of funny. It's just like, oh, he doesn't even care about us shadow clones, which makes me feel like the shadow clones have a mind for themselves, which is kind of weird when I think about it, because I just think that they're just the same person. So that's just like a whole thing to think about right there. So there's the fight goes on. Iwabe is absolutely kicking Boruto's butt, and then all of a sudden, Boruto uses shadow clones effectively for once, gets a really, really nice 3-hit combo on him, and Iwabe then decides to take out the big guns, where he usually carries around a staff type thing, which the reason why he does that is because he knows Earth style. He's able to basically stab the stick into the ground and make basically a giant hammer with it, which makes me wonder what he's going to do with that in the future. But unfortunately, yeah, he is called out for cheating, because at the beginning of their fight, he said that they were going to do he wasn't going to use any weapons, like any of his stick. He wasn't going to use any of that. And right when he did, he got disqualified. Boom! And he calls himself uncool. he is so uncool because he cheated, even though he's basically a school dropout. So uncool. But yeah, so we didn't get to see Boruto use his eye at all. I have a feeling that it's still very, very like low stages. You can't really use it that much, or he's just like very bad with it, or he just didn't want to show off to the world that he knows how to use it. We don't know. I'm assuming that, I think it's just because he just hasn't used it that much, that he just not reliant on it, and he just doesn't want to like figure out like that stuff. Because once he does that, oh, you could do like a Nada thing and go after like choke points, like chakra points and stuff like that. Like that's going to be interesting. But afterwards, which actually I found kind of funny, it makes it seem like everything is all well. Ilbe comes back into the classroom after the fight because they're all talking. Boruto is like the most popular kid in class, which is completely opposite of what's going on with Naruto. And Ilbe comes up to Boruto, says hi to him, and he's just like, yeah, we should go do class stuff. And everybody's just like, oh, what? And it just leaves off in that, which I actually found was funny. Now, the episode, I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it started out pretty slow right off the bat. I mean, Naruto is like one of the slowest animes, in my opinion. So, it's still following the Naruto type stuff that, like, we're still only 2 weeks in to the academy. I'm not entirely certain how long the academy is. So, maybe, like, next episode, it will go to, like, the actual, what's it called? It would go to the graduation or, like, the final tests. But maybe there's going to be a couple more episodes before the final test. We'll have to see what happens, because in the manga, like the second or third chapter is I think the second chapter is graduation. So the manga goes so much faster than the actual show. Because I think, like, the manga starts right when the movie happens, and it looks like the show is happening before the movie. So, we'll have to see, too, if that movie's actually canon. I'm assuming it is, but we'll have to see. One last thing, too, before I cut out, was that we got to see a lot of Sarada. Not a lot, but we got, like, tad bits of Sarada, which is Sasuke and Sakura's little girl, who knows how to use Sharingan. We got to see a little bit of it. She tries to keep her cool during class. She's got, like, that Sasuke type of deal, where, like, she's trying to make it seem like nothing affects her, and she's just, like, messing with her glasses, doing, like, this thing, and he just thinks that she's so cool, and tries to keep her composure, but at the same time, she has, like, this, like, little thing inside her that's, like, that's really interesting and stuff. Like, during the fight, you could tell that, like, at first, like, right when before the fight started, the whole class is there, and Sarada's standing there. She's just like, why do we have to be here? This is so stupid. I don't want to be here. Can't we just go back to class? That type of stuff. And then, during the fight, Sarada is sitting there shaking, when Boruto is actually getting beaten up. Which is interesting, because I think, like, she's got, like, that Sakura mentality where, she wants to go in and help, because she's known him for a long time. Because, obviously, Naruto, Nada, Sakura, and Sasuke, all family friends, that sort of stuff. So, like, they've been friends, they've known each other, well, childhood friends for a while. Sarada doesn't think they're childhood friends, but they're childhood friends, basically. And during the fight, I have a feeling that she wanted to go in and, like, do something or help or whatever, but she tries to hide it back because she's got, like, the Sasuke mentality, gotta stay cool, blah, and all that stuff. But it was really, really cool. And, oh yeah, I did say like, the last point, but it's something really, really simple, but it's Denki, during the fight, they're talking about chakra, and Denki uses his laptop and figures out what chakra is. So, it gives you, like, for people who have never seen Naruto before, it gives you, like, a little bit of insight as to, like, the lore of Naruto, like, what chakra is. I have a feeling it's going to explain stuff. Like, for people who have watched all of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, it's going to be like, oh, they're talking about chakra all over again. But this is okay, because I think, in my opinion, if for new people who were just like, oh, Naruto is, like, 500 episodes. I don't want to watch that, but they just saw the new episode and they're like, oh, it's starting to come out right now. I might as well go ahead and start watching it. There you are. For people who do not know anything about the Naruto universe, you got a little insight as to what chakra is. I mean, it's only like a few seconds, but like maybe like 10 seconds. But it's enough to let the people know that chakra is very important for at least for Boruto to make his shadow clones. So, it'll have like, it basically is just like teaching the audience what chakra is used for. I mean, this is, there's still like other things that like some of the characters were doing and are not explained at all for new people, but for people who understand Naruto, have watched Naruto, you know what everything is. So, it's not that big of a deal. But I think on that note, that's enough and done for this review. I think this episode was pretty solid. The animation is really dang good. The fighting animations were really good, really on point. I mean, currently, right now, there's not a lot going on. They're just kind of punching. There's not, like, meteors coming from the sky, blowing up the entire world, that sort of stuff. But, like, punches and things, effects, shadow clones, all that stuff. Animation's is pretty solid right now. I'm really, really liking it. Story elements is a little slow, but Naruto's always slow, so I wouldn't worry about that. It'll speed up as time goes on. It's the second episode. Just give it some time, and it'll speed back up. But I think this episode really was pretty solid. The first two episodes pretty solid. I'm excited to see what goes on next episode. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited to see what they have in store. But let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the episode. Make sure to like it up. Make sure to go check out the episodes as well if you haven't already. If you like watched this whole entire episode and you were wondering like what I was saying, make sure to go check out the episode for yourself. It's on Crunchyroll. Obviously, they didn't pay me to say that. I watched it there. There's also plenty of other sites that you could go see it as well if you don't have Crunchyroll. Yeah, make sure to support all the official releases and all that good stuff. Like, you know how Team 4-Star always says that. But on that note, I'm going to say thank you guys for joining once again. And I will be seeing you later. Yes, he will be Hokage. Believe it! Maybe. We'll have to see what Boruto does.